Greetings, friends. In today's video, we're going to discuss why American Jews should embrace conservative values and reject progressivism. We'll explore how conservatism aligns with Jewish teachings, protects religious freedom, and ensures the survival of Judaism in an increasingly hostile cultural landscape. We'll also talk about the need for more Jewish conservative voices to compete with the dominance of leftist ideology. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time here, it's a pleasure. Remember to check out my book. Links are in the description below. If you enjoy this video, consider subscribing and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future discussions. For decades, American Jews have predominantly aligned with liberal and progressive politics, driven by historical experiences, cultural trends, and a commitment to social justice. However, as the political landscape evolves, it becomes imperative to reassess this alignment. The progressive movement has increasingly embraced ideologies that diverge from both traditional Jewish beliefs and the principles that have allowed Judaism to flourish in the United States. Embracing conservative values may offer a path that aligns more closely with traditional Jewish teachings, safeguards religious freedom, and supports the preservation of a moral and just society. Judaism is deeply rooted in tradition, law, and a clear moral order. The Torah provides a framework emphasizing individual responsibility, the sanctity of life, the importance of family, and the necessity of justice. These principles align far more with conservative ideology than with progressive ideals, which often promote moral relativism, collectivist policies, and an ever-expanding government that seeks to replace personal responsibility with state intervention. These values can be broken down into three categories: personal responsibility, family values, and objective morality. First, personal responsibility. The Torah emphasizes individual moral accountability. Deuteronomy 24 verse 16 states, "Parents shall not be put to death for children, nor children be put to death for parents. A person shall be put to death only for their own crime." This underscores the principle that individuals are responsible for their actions, aligning with conservative views that prioritize personal responsibility over attributing blame to societal structures. Conservative ideology upholds this principle by advocating for policies that reward hard work, discipline, and self-sufficiency rather than fostering dependence on government programs. Second, family values. The Torah places great importance on marriage, children, and the transmission of values across generations. In Genesis, God commands humanity to be fruitful and multiply, highlighting the significance of family continuity. Conservative politics champions the nuclear family as the foundation of a stable and moral society, a concept that resonates with traditional Jewish teachings. Progressive policies, by contrast, often undermine traditional family structures, promote alternative models lacking biblical grounding, and encourage state intervention in child rearing, diminishing parental authority. Third, objective morality. Judaism teaches that morality is divinely ordained, with the Torah outlining clear ethical guidelines, from the Ten Commandments to the laws of Kashrut. This reinforces the idea that morality is not dictated by human whims but by God. Progressivism, on the other hand, promotes moral relativism, where truth and ethics are seen as fluid concepts. This has led to an erosion of moral values in society, with behaviors that were once universally condemned now being celebrated as expressions of personal identity. Conservative principles seek to uphold traditional moral values, ensuring that laws and policies reflect time-tested ethical foundations. One of the primary reasons American Jews have historically leaned left is because they have associated liberalism with religious tolerance and the protection of minority rights. However, the modern progressive movement is no longer a champion of religious freedom. Instead, it has become increasingly hostile to traditional religious values, pushing policies that force religious institutions and individuals to act against their beliefs in the name of inclusivity. Conservatism, on the other hand, has become the primary defender of religious liberty in the United States. The First Amendment guarantees the free exercise of religion, and it has been conservatives who have fought to protect that right in the face of government overreach. Whether it is the right of Jewish businesses to observe Shabbat without government interference, the right of Jewish schools to maintain religious curricula without progressive indoctrination, or the ability to practice Judaism freely without being forced to conform to secular ideologies, conservative policies provide greater security for religious Jews than progressive ones. Additionally, conservative politicians have been far more vocal in their support for the State of Israel than their progressive counterparts. While Jews in America may not all be Zionists, Israel remains a crucial part of Jewish identity and heritage. It is conservative leaders who have stood firmly by Israel's right to defend itself, recognizing its significance as the homeland of the Jewish people. Progressives, by contrast, have increasingly turned against Israel, embracing anti-Zionist rhetoric that often crosses into outright anti-Semitism. Secularism, in its most benign form, has allowed Jews to practice their faith freely in America. However, the radical secularism promoted by progressives today is not about neutrality, but about the active erasure of religious influence from public life. This is particularly dangerous for Jews because it threatens the very structures that have allowed Jewish life to flourish in the United States. Progressive secularism seeks to remove any acknowledgement of religious tradition from law and culture, replacing it with an ideology that is often hostile to biblical values. This manifests in policies that attack religious schools, pressure religious organizations to conform to progressive social norms, and promote an educational system that actively undermines faith-based worldviews. Jewish continuity depends on the ability to pass down religious traditions, and the progressive agenda of removing religion from public life makes that increasingly difficult. Furthermore, progressive economic policies favor a large, centralized government that takes over many functions traditionally held by religious communities. In Jewish history, communal support systems, synagogues, charities, and religious schools have played a crucial role in maintaining Jewish identity and helping those in need. When the government expands its role through welfare programs and social services, it replaces the function of these religious institutions, leading to a decline in community cohesion and engagement. If Judaism is to survive and thrive into the future, American Jews must decisively reject leftism and progressivism. These ideologies have eroded religious values, undermined moral clarity, and created an environment where traditional Jewish beliefs are seen as outdated or oppressive. Progressivism has proven to be a movement that does not tolerate religious dissent. It demands full ideological conformity, often at the expense of Jewish identity and religious freedom. The only way forward is for American Jews to embrace conservatism fully and unapologetically. One of the most effective ways to combat the dominance of progressive ideology is to cultivate and amplify Jewish conservative voices. We need more public intellectuals like Ben Shapiro, strong, articulate Jewish conservatives who can engage in the battle of ideas and effectively counter the leftist narratives that have captured much of American Jewish culture. For too long, Jewish voices in the media have been overwhelmingly liberal, leaving little room for conservative perspectives. This imbalance has allowed leftist ideas to dominate the Jewish community, leading many Jews away from the values of their ancestors. To remain competitive against our Christian conservative counterparts, we must build a robust network of Jewish conservative commentators, journalists, and thought leaders who can articulate a pro-Jewish, pro-traditional values vision for the future. Conservative Christians have established powerful media platforms, think tanks, and activist organizations that defend their beliefs and shape public discourse. If Jews fail to do the same, we risk losing our influence and allowing leftist ideologies to continue distorting Jewish identity. Jewish conservatism must not be a passive movement. It must be proactive, assertive, and willing to challenge the prevailing cultural orthodoxy. We need to foster a new generation of Jewish conservative leaders who are unafraid to speak out against the dangers of progressivism, defend religious freedom, and advocate for policies that protect Jewish values and the Jewish community. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more discussions like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think conservatism is the future for American Jews? See you in the next video.